bring this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, first up is the reading and approval of the minutes from the August 13, 2024 regular council meeting. The minutes of that meeting have been distributed. Were there any questions about it, or? I'm sure everybody read it, right?
Make a motion to accept.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Second, may I have all those in favor say aye?
Aye.
All right, minutes are moved. We'll move on to the next item on the agenda. So this is, we got several receipts for bids for three separate contract bundles for the DLAP grant, the Dilapidated Properties Program. I'm going to let Chief Code Enforcement Officer Donnie Morgan speak a little bit more about that before I open up the bids.
Yeah, we've already done one contract bundle for the state, which they're being taken down now. It consisted of 13 structures. The next group that we got ready consists of 9, but we broke it up into 3 separate bundles to try and get more bids this time. So this will be contract bundles 2, 3, and 4 that we're opening bids for tonight.
Yeah, and Group 2 had like 5, is it 5 residential homes
Yes,
that are going to be
5.
demolished?
Yeah, and group 3 has 2 homes on it, and group 4 has 2 homes.
All right, well, we'll open this up, and we'll see if Jessica's right on this. We got this in order.
So there's only like 4 houses on it?
All right, Donnie, this one actually has 2 addresses on it, 313 Maplewood Lane and 938 South Fayette Street. And that's the only 2 properties on there.
Yeah, that's
Group 4.
So that would be Group 4.
yes.
And the total amount of the bid is for $18,600. So I will pass this one on to Sherry or Cody if one of you all want to hold that.
Who was it for?
It was League Builders and Consultants. League Builders and Consultants. Okay, so these people actually put 3 of them in. So this is for Group 2, which again had 5. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. So again, this bid is for 5 different properties. It's Empire Salvage and Recycling. And for all 5 properties, the total estimated cost was $32,000.
Mayor, what is the location on those properties, please?
You want to read them? So it's 110 Grant Street, 216 Mills Avenue, 367 Moole Avenue, 201 Hartley Avenue, and 301 Westmoreland Avenue.
Okay.
So again, they've submitted 2 other bids too, so this is Group 3. So again, there'll be 2 properties on this one. Again, with the Empire Salvage, 2 properties, 107 Elko Lane and 104 Hunter Street. Total estimated cost, $11,000. And the third bid from Empire Salvage is for 313 Maplewood Lane and 938 South Fayette Street, and the total estimated cost of that one is $16,500. those three back together for me, if you don't mind. And while we're talking about this, how many properties have been demolished already? A couple?
I know 3 already been taken down, and they still have 10 left on the first.
On the first one?
Gives that envelope.
It looks like this company is Reclaim Company LLC out of Fairmont. Again, it's for the 5 properties, the 110 Grant Street, 216 Mills, 367 Mole, 201 Hartley, and 301 Westmoreland, and the total amount of $56,700. Thank you, Sherry. What's on the agenda? Same company, Reclaim Company. This is for 107 Elko Lane, 104 Hunter Street, in the amount of $23,850. Want that one back? Put them all 3 in there.
Yep.
And the last one for Reclaim Company LLC, 313 Maplewood Lane and 938 South Fayette Street, and the total estimated cost of that is $27,500. So I think we got one more. Jessica, is that right, to bid on all 3 of them? I put in bids for all 3?
Maybe.
Maybe. So this bid is from Tom's Tear Down and Takeaway, Charleston, West Virginia. I love the name, man, that's catchy. So it looks like for the 5 properties, again, I'm not gonna name them again, was 44,000, and the demo group 2, 44,000. And then demo group 3 was 15,000. And then on this other one, it looks like they only put a bid on 216 Mills Avenue. I don't see the other one on there. Oh, yeah, maybe the. Yeah, well, I'll tell you, they separated these all into, it looks like it's all into, yeah, I think they just did it for that first group, and then they, like 15,000 for Grand Avenue, 7,500 for 216 Mills, but then the total for that 5 group was 44,000.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if I see another one. No, I think they just did the first group. And then laid them out, each one of them. Let me make sure real quick. Let me just make sure that they didn't bid on the other ones. No, I think it's it. I think they just did the first one. Thank you, Sherry. This one again is for group 2. The total amount for all 5 properties, $67,013. And this is provided by West Virginia Demolition out of Charleston, West Virginia. So if you go back to Tom's, they actually did them all individually. I didn't say that.
What, we're doing the reading because the next council will approve it because the city pays up front for the demo. But what I have to do is submit all the bids to the state, and they actually approve the bid that wins.
Yeah,
And, then we'll be reimbursed by the grant money.
about the state of West Virginia?
Yes.
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
League Builders submitted 3 bids. You read, you only read one. It was for $18,600. And the one for Elko Lane and Hunter Street was $11,400.
Okay.
And the one for Grant Street, Mills, Moole, Hartley, and Westmoreland was $45,050.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Trump.
Jessica caught it. She just told me to say something.
Donnie, has there already been an asbestos abatement? This is included?
Yeah.
All these will be,
Yeah, asbestos inspection, abatement, and demos all included.
okay.
Yeah, I saw it on there. Okay, so this one from Tom's Teardown Takeaway for the addresses 104 Hunter Street and 107 Elko Lane was a total of 11,000. And then the last one from Tom's Teardown. And this again would be for 2 properties. 313 Maplewood Lane and 938 South Fayette Street, and the total estimated cost is $13,000. All right, 7 down, 2 to go. We're almost there. Hang in there. And these are both from the same company as well. West Virginia Demolition in Charleston. So it looks like for 107 Elko Lane and 104 Hunter Street, they put a total estimated cost at $16,523. Same company, West Virginia Demolition, 313 Maplewood Lane, 938 South Fayette Street. Total estimated cost at $28,224.50. All right, very good. Any other comments on it there?
Yes, I'd like to have a comment on it. Captain Morgan, I noticed on those, I don't think any of those was in Ward 3. Is that correct?
Yeah, we still have several houses. A lot of the ones we're doing now they voluntarily signed up to get the demolition done. So we were getting those first.
Okay, so but there are money in the budget to turn down the house without the people consent to do so, am I correct? Because we went on a tour, and I appreciate you inviting me over there. Y'all do an outstanding job.
Yeah.
But, I mean, from my house, there's 4 houses need to be torn down.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't understand how one ward, not one house, is not going to get torn down, regardless of who doing it.
Initially, when I submitted the application, I had 37 houses total. I submitted the application in November of last year. It can be modified, which it will have to be because the bids are coming in lower than I estimated, so we're gonna be able to add more houses than the 37 original.
But is that how it is, kind of first ones to sign up and voluntarily say, hey, listen, to keep me from having to keep a place up and everything else, I voluntarily go ahead and sign and agree to let you demolish the house?
Yes.
And then there's a lien placed on that property. So even though we're reimbursed by the state, those landowners still have a lien on the property,
Yeah,
right?
If they
So-
voluntarily signed up, there's a lien forgiveness, and there's some conditions on that.
Right.
And the other ones will have to get court orders.
But that's how they pretty much got to the top of the list, the properties, because they went ahead and got the volunteer.
Yeah,
So,
they're ready to go.
anybody else have any questions? All right, very good. We'll move on. Thank you, Donnie. Next item of business is second reading and public hearing of ordinance authorizing property swap with the West Virginia Department of Veterans Assistance. I will turn it over to Mr. Fowle for more comment on that.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, tonight is the second reading of an ordinance that was passed on first reading on August 13 of this year. This is an ordinance that makes a couple of changes to a prior ordinance that was adopted. What it does is it adds in the fourth paragraph of the ordinance language with special warranty, which means the city, when it deeds its property to the Department of Veterans Assistance, will only be warranting with special warranty, which means during the period that the city is owning the property, it will warrant that it has done nothing to encumber that property. At the same time, we anticipate the Department of Veterans Assistance, when they deed to us in this property swap, their property, we anticipate that they will also want to use with special warranty. That was omitted at the first time we did the ordinance, so I thought it was important that we revisit this and insert that language. Also, we have in this new ordinance the authorization of the mayor, city manager, or the recorder treasurer to sign any documents required to facilitate this transaction. This is, as has been explained in the past, it's an ordinance that's going to help provide property that the state or the West Virginia Department of Veterans Assistance is going to build a facility that's going to provide long-term care to veterans who are in need of assistance, and this is something that's certainly needed in this area. So it's going to be a tremendous asset, I think, to the city and to the county. At this time, I'm going to read by title the ordinance and then open it for public hearing and see if anybody has any comments they want to make either in favor of or in opposition to the ordinance. The ordinance is titled, "An Ordinance Authorizing a Property Swap with the West Virginia Department of Veterans Assistance," and that's what this is. We are swapping properties with the Department of Veterans Assistance because the property they initially planned to build upon did not lay the way it needed to lay in order to build a one-story facility. And so this is going to help them in the construction of their property. As I said, it's going to be a benefit, I believe, to the Department of Veterans Assistance and to the local veterans in this area. So at the ordinance titled Ordinance Authorizing Property Swap with West Virginia Department of Veterans Assistance, and I will open at this time the public hearing and ask if anyone has any comments either in favor of or in opposition to this ordinance. Appearing to be none. Yes, sir.
My question is, my understanding is that the property is not near the current VA, it's somewhere else.
Right.
Is there a reason why? Because it would seem like it would make sense that if you're having people that are veterans who need long-term care, it would be easier for them to go back and forth between the VA and the facility.
I cannot respond.
This is a state facility, and the VA that's over on the other side of town is a federal facility. So it's the State Veterans Association or Division of Veterans for the state that's constructing this facility.
So they don't commingle?
Apparently not.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, good question. Thank you.
That makes sense.
Any other questions? Yes.
Tell us exactly where this property is. It seems unclear. I've read several newspaper articles about this property swap, and I'm still not really clear on which piece of property is being swapped away.
I can't specifically tell you where it is. I've got a description here with plats. If you want to view that, you're certainly entitled to look at it.
That'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've had a copy here at City Hall at the front desk for a couple weeks now. So if anyone wants to look at it, please feel free to do so. Thank you. Any other questions?
Sam, could you give like a better kind of description of exactly where this property is for the public to know?
Yeah, so currently there's a unpaved gravel road that goes between the Raleigh County Sheriff's Office and the Dr. Pepper facility. If you go between those two facilities, then there will be a road that will be extended to that section
Yeah, and kind of answer your question, we're not really building the facility. They had a piece of property by Little League, and it was going to make them have to build a two-story building, and that just doesn't really work for what the use of it. So we were approached to do a property swap so they could have a one-level facility.
Any other questions? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Mayor, need a motion to.
Very good. May I have a motion to approve the ordinance as presented?
So move.
Can I get a second? Thank you. All in favor, say aye. Anyone opposed, say no. Okay, great. How's that? Thank you, council. So moved. Thank you, Mr. Fowle. Next up on the agenda is the approval of Thrasher's proposal for Pinecrest Business Park. I can let Mr. Fowle talk about that, or Billy Trump, I know your name's on the top of it, so whichever one of you gentlemen want to speak a little bit about that.
Well, initially, we put out a request for qualifications for multiple engineering firms. The 4 firms submitted their qualifications. Each submission was independently scored by 5 individuals, Councilman Reedy, Councilwoman Hunter, myself, Jessica Chandler, and Billy Michael representing the county commission. The scores were submitted and tabulated. Thrasher Engineering had the highest aggregate score when compiled from the independent evaluators. So they submitted, since they were chosen, they submitted a bid of, or a contract price of $480,000 for the development. So it's the recommendation that Thrasher move forward with their development. Actually, the $480,000, while seeming to be a lot of money, is a bargain for this development.
And Mayor, what we'll need is a motion to approve the Thrasher Group, Inc. as the engineering firm of record for the Pinecrest Business Park property. And they're going to do the infrastructure and the site development to create the pad-ready sites. And as Mr. Trump stated, the cost that was negotiated is $480,000. So that's
Okay.
to approve that also.
Does anybody on council have any questions? Nobody? All right, very good. May I have a motion to approve the approval for Thrasher Pinecrest Business Park?
So moved.
Second.
And then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed say no? Okay, so moved. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is the notification of application for renewal of West Virginia ABCA license for Judy's at 275 North Eisenhower Drive. So I believe I'll turn it back over to Captain Morgan again if he wants to comment on that.
Yeah, this is a notification. It doesn't require any action
Anything from council, yeah.
council's part. Patty's Inc. owner doing business as Judy's, 275 North Eisenhower Drive, map 2, parcel 360, has filed a notice of intent to apply to operate a private club, private wine restaurant, or tavern at this location in the B2 General Business District. This is a renewal of a West Virginia ABCA license. This location, 275 North Eisenhower Drive, the intended use, private club, private wine restaurant, or tavern is permitted use in this B2 zone. The location is not in an area designated by common council for the use of community development block grant funds. That's it.
That's it, okay. Very good, moving on. Next item is the approval of the shooting range lease agreement. I know this has been discussed many times. Billy Trump, I've read through the lease and I saw your name was at the bottom of it. Do you want to go through the details on it?
Mr. Fowle has it right here in front of him.
Okay, either one,
He's
either
fresh
one.
from being back from vacation.
That's right, let him take it.
Thank you. Yeah, what we'll need tonight is a motion to approve this lease. It's for the city of Beckley to enter into a lease with the New River Gorge Regional Development Authority. They are currently the owners of the property. The city is the tenant. This is where the law enforcement shooting range is located. This is a lease that will protect New River Gorge Regional Development Authority from any liability that's created through the use of this facility as a shooting range. It's currently, the rent is $1 per month, currently written to be for 36 months or 3 years, with then If it's still owned by the New River Gorge Development Authority at that stage, it will convert to a month-to-month lease, so it will continue at $1 per month as long as needed. And as I stated, this does protect the New River Gorge Regional Development Authority from liability that may be created through the use of this shooting range. It is a shooting range that is used not only by the city of Beckley, but by other law enforcement agencies. So that it's important that we get this matter worked out. There will be ample insurance to protect the city of Beckley and certainly to protect New River Gorge Regional Development Authority, who is the landlord. And so at this time, we would need, unless Ms. Belcher, who's here from the New River Gorge Regional Development Authority, wants to address it. If-
Again, Mr. Call put it correctly. We just want to ensure that the shooting range can continue operating for law enforcement and we have the liability protection. And so the easiest way to do that while we are working on the grounds of remediation is through the lease arrangement. So that's the overall goal, is to just ensure the shooting range can continue operating and we don't have any liability.
Thank you, Gina.
Just need a motion to approve the city of Beckley entering into this lease.
So, go ahead, Janine.
Mayor, I have a comment.
Sure.
On the last page, it says Mayor Robert Rafford. Does that need to have your name? Not on the last page, the page before the last page.
Actually, you received that was an inadvertent mistake. That's an older copy. We caught that today and did change it to,
Okay.
actually to Mr. Trump, I believe, or the current mayor, Mr. Meade.
Okay, I just want to
No, I
see if you all
appreciate-
were
no,
aware
you're correct.
I got the
of that
copy
mistake.
today.
We need to have Mayor Ryan Neal's name on
Well, I'm sorry, what did he say?
Let Billy sign it.
His name's on there.
Ryan Neal's name.
In case something goes south out there. Put Billy's name on there.
Billy Trump.
She must probably got it.
So again, was there any other comments or questions? Thank you, Janine.
it. You're welcome.
All right, may I have a motion to approve the lease agreement as presented?
So move.
Second.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say no. Thank you. So moved. We'll move on to old business. Was there any items in the last city council meeting that anybody wants to revisit from council?
Mayor, I kind of have old business.
Yeah.
Well, it's not really, it's kind of sort of city council business,
Okay.
but it's kind of 34 years old business. And I want to wish Councilwoman Coots and her husband a happy 34th wedding anniversary. 36 years. That's old business, so congratulations.
That's definitely old
Yeah,
business, thank you.
Okay.
I do have, I guess this falls under old business. I was wondering if we could reinstate the public's ability to call in to the meetings. As long as they would identify themselves with first and last name, we don't want any incidents where people call in under a pseudonym. But I think if we're really striving for more transparency with the public, that's important.
Sure.
So I don't know, Mr. Kelly, is that your department or?
That
who do we-
could certainly be done.
Who
And I
do we-
think the stipulation you state that a person would have to identify his or herself and their location, whether they're a resident of the city of Beckley or somewhere else.
So would they just be on listen in? Would they be able to speak at public comments?
Yeah, yes.
Oh, they would be able to do that,
Right.
okay.
Yeah, he would,
Yeah.
at the end, how it used to be was they could click and raise a hand, or if they were on the phone, dial star or
Okay.
something.
Yeah.
I think it's
There's a
right there in
little
front of you.
point right there.
It tells them how to do it, and then
Yeah.
they just unmute whoever it is that raises
Okay.
their hand.
But no Batman and no
Right.
single names and,
Sue,
yeah,
whatever the
Correct.
word was.
we need to make sure that they identify themselves.
Anyone else have anything?
Mayor, I do have something.
Yeah.
Thank you. I just want to thank Joni Morse, who came in on Saturday and conducted a workshop at New Hope Baptist Church. She's from the Preservation Alliance of West Virginia, and I think she helped you. Did she help you with Salem Baptist
Salem
Church,
Baptist
New Salem? Okay, she came in and did a workshop for us for Wright Hunter Cemetery, and I just wanted to thank her. And she also came and went over to the cemetery and did some presentations there. So I just wanted to thank her for that. Thank you. Oh, one more thing, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
And Mr. DeJarnett, he's the superintendent of the Department of Corrections for work release, and he had some of his inmates to come over and cut the grass for us. That cemetery is on the National Register of Historic Places, so hopefully I can get some more people on board that we can keep that cemetery kept up and the grass cut there. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Janine. Anyone else?
Yes, I'd like to give compliment to Leslie and Robert for doing an outstanding job over the community center. And also, Captain Morgan, I do appreciate you inviting me over to over to the code enforce. We did do a ride over in Ward 3, and they do have a hard job. I have to admit that. I mean, the things that they can really cite people about is unreal. But I do appreciate the thing, and I think once people realize that we all here to work together, and we all going to be a stronger city. That's more the council, but a stronger city, and I do appreciate y'all.
Well, I guess I should thank Kip for the invite to the Beckley Housing meeting. I learned a lot that day that I just did not know before.
Thank you.
Very good. Okay, we'll move on to new business. Is there any new business?
I just want to invite the public, this coming Wednesday, 9/11, we're going to, or Wednesday after next, we're going to have our memorial service in front of the beam, the World Trade Center beam. Our first responders will be acknowledged, and our firefighters, our EMS, our police. Kevin Price always does talks about how he and Billy Trump and Brian Trump went to New York to get the piece of the World Trade Center. That memorial service has been taking place for many years. There'll be a proclamation read by the mayor, a timeline, April Atkins Bodke, and I've been doing that for some time, and we hope that you can make it. Mount View Christian School will be there singing, and St. Francis, but the general public is certainly welcome to be at that memorial service starting at 9:30 on 9/11 at Ward Park
Thank you.
at the beam.
Anyone else?
I have something I need to say. You know, I am the squeaky wheel. I realize that. That's okay. A lot of you know that Mr. File and I had a difference of opinion a couple weeks ago. It was widely covered. And after today, I want to move on past that because it's important that the city move forward. But, you know, I've had a lot of people in my ward call and message and ask me how that could happen. And so I'm not sure what to tell you, but maybe Mr. File could talk to you after if you still have questions. And I'm done with that.
Okay, anyone else?
I just want to thank Attorney Fowle for returning home from Alaska. That is a beautiful place. I hope you enjoyed yourself.
Thank you.
All right, no one else? All right, then we'll move on to public comments, and first up, you know it, you know who's next. Mary West. And please, not that we have trouble with you, but if your name's called and you come up to the podium, please make sure that you speak directly into the microphone.
Well, I think I'm loud enough without it. I am here for an update on my speed bumps and humps, or whatever you all gonna do. Because I am so tired of watching that same channel on LaRue. It is driving me crazy. We are all one people. You all are administration for us. I can't do nothing unless you all put them down there for me. And another thing is, I don't know, you all have the sewage company, right? That's city. And the water company is private. But I wish y'all can educate these fools on how to read a meter. I went from a $21 water bill to a $300, and the sewage company want $400. I couldn't have that much diarrhea in a year. That was $38. They went to $400. So somebody needs to do something and check these meters, because the sanitary board said they can't do it because that belongs to the water company. Well, what good is the sanitary board holding on to this, but they can come down and turn the water off? But they can't come down there and look in there and see.
There's not a leak, Mary?
It's a leak on the city side, because I had some guys to check it out.
Okay, Mary, I called Beckley Water Company today. They are going to come down there this weekend.
Yeah, well, you know,
And check.
and then even if I got a leak, they're doubling the bill because they're gonna tell me it's.
They will adjust it.
They'll just.
They will
Yeah,
adjust
well,
your bill.
They need to adjust something. They need to adjust their eyes when they read those meters too.
Maybe so.
And another thing, when am I gonna get those trees cut down in the alleyway? I've been asking for them for years. Now I see where somebody went down there to the four-way stop that I got in the other administration many moons ago and put a sign down that said, "Stop all way." But that's all I can get on that street down there at Worley and LaRue. But the trees behind my house, next to me, they're gonna fall.
Again, it's at the alleyway.
That's the alleyway.
We have a workshop on Thursday. We'll be discussing alleyways on Thursday.
Well, I
Thank
hope
you.
somebody do something, because I've asked too many times for the alleyway, the street, and everything else.
Yeah, that's item number 8 on the agenda on Thursday.
All right, and I want to thank all of you all for what you do, and be blessed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Next up is Paul Brown. Paul Brown.
Hey, good evening. I'm here to speak regarding the cross-country track. This is a new issue to me, and I've been researching it as much as possible, but it's quite honestly very difficult to understand this whole thing. In order to try to keep things to your suggested time limit, let me just read a few things I'd like to present here. So, your government for the people, of the people, by the people. This is the people. We're here. We're here to redress a grievance with our government. There's a lot of unanswered questions here that must be accountable to the public about this situation. Government must not exist for its own interests. It is clear from the discussions among community members that no part of this is or has been transparent or clearly outlined to us as a community. As government, you're not here to do favors for your friends in business. You are here to serve your community. If you truly have nothing to gain from this so-called development, then you also have nothing to lose. You're here to protect your community, particularly those who are most vulnerable. That being first and foremost the children in this community. If you're the ones charged with planning and developing this community, then it must be planning that has to take into account the well-being of the children in this community and their safety. You need to explain to the parents and the children why you're so quick to give them the leftovers. Why is there an unfinished field? Why do you think it's okay for the kids of this community to be practicing on old landfills? Why not give your best to the next generation? There's more than one definition of development, and green spaces are an essential part of communities. Green spaces are about more than just dollars and cents. Green spaces are about common sense. They are every bit as vital as the businesses and the roads and the other infrastructure. If you cannot allow less than 20% of that total land to be, quote, developed into a green space, then the simple answer at hand is to give it back to the state and let them do it.
30 seconds.
Honestly, it seems that the volunteers in this community have already done an amazing job. While you've spent more than 2 decades arguing about what might be here and accomplishing nothing, a handful of devoted citizens with no funding have quietly created something truly meaningful to all of us, a crown jewel for our community and the state that showcases the talents of our next generation. Let me close by imploring you with the words of Sitting Bull. Let us put our minds together and see what we can do for our children.
Thank you, Paul. And I think you're referring to, I don't know if it was clear, I think you're referring to the cross-country track that
that's
John
exactly
Humphrey and them
correct.
developed.
Yes.
Yeah, I was there Saturday. Thanks again for the invite, Coach. But I think that's what he's referring to, because John and I discussed that about that property may be used for something else down the road, and it's pretty impressive. I was impressed with that. And here I thought there might be 750 people there, maybe 1,000. What do you think? 3,000, Coach? 2,000? Oh my gosh, what an awesome event it was. So I appreciate it again, Paul. Let's go next to Kayla Morey.
There's a famous song that we all know, so if you know it, feel free to sing along. They took all the trees and put them in a tree museum, and they charged the people $1.50 just to see them. Don't it always seem to go when you don't know what you've got till it's gone? They paved paradise to put up a parking lot. I'm the mother of a child that attends Beckley Stratton Middle School, and I stand here in devout protection of this beautiful recreational area being taken from the students, teachers, and athletes, potentially, at Beckley Stratton Middle School and Beckley Elementary. Who here has children or was a caretaker of children? Raise your hands. This is one huge thing we all have in common. And it is the one thing that will drive us towards not just creating, but also protecting the community that they live in. I think we can all agree that we would do anything in our power to give our children the best life and to encourage their passions. For a lot of kids, their school experience in sports is their only foundation of health. And it is those experiences that foster and carve a path to their future. If you take away this safe space for them and turn it into a parking lot, it will have devastating effects on so many. I don't know if any of your children are like this, but my son is obsessed with video games. It is all he thinks about and all he wants to do. This year has been the first year my son has ever been interested in sports and being part of a team. And I don't know about you, but anything I can do to get the kids off of the screens and being outdoors is important. It's not only important, it's paramount to their future to become active citizens. This room is full of brilliant minds and hearts. Let's come together as a community to find a solution towards keeping our children safe, protecting their athletic programs, and building a more sustainable future for them. As Mr. Bill Roop stated just before the meeting, there is 140 acres to choose from. We must work together. We don't have to destroy the 30 acres that the cross-country trail sits on. As stated on the Beckley City webpage, but we can't neglect the lofty plateaus of forest and farmland for which our area is known. Even in the heart of the largest city in southern West
30
Virginia,
seconds.
you'll find woodland and park around every corner. This is stated on the City of Beckley website. If we're going to promote the beauty of the land to bring in business, then the City of Beckley should be the first in line to protect it.
Thank you. Christina?
Christina Baisden. This is about fruits of labor. It's nice to see the fabulous four in the building tonight. I was there in 2021 when the idea of purchasing the Zen's building specifically for fruits of labor was brought before City Council. I spoke against it. I was there when City Council approved the purchase of the building. I was still speaking against it. Mayor Rappold sold this idea of calling the building a turnkey business, except it wasn't. Mayor Rappold was recently quoted in the Register Herald article regarding the closing of Fruits of Labor, saying, It's probably the saddest day of my life, adding that he feared this would happen when the previous council was denied the opportunity to vote on the lease. He also stated in the article, "I'm devastated. It was my worst fear that once we didn't pass it, which frankly was out of my control, I didn't remove it from the city council agenda." Fruits of Labor is vacating the building as we speak, and the finger pointing has already begun, folks. The mayor sets the agenda in a strong mayor form of government. This we already know. Tammy Jordan is quoted in the same article saying, "The improvements and some equipment in the building that we must leave behind during the relocation more than compensates the monthly lease amount we presented as possible for the entire time we have occupied the building." Purchase number one, $1 million from taxpayer money of the Zenz building. An estimated $100,000 spent of taxpayer money on renovations. Utilities, $2,000, which is a conservative estimate for a 4-level building per month, totaling $72,000. And that does not include the upkeep or any other expense that we do not know about. Fruits of Labor collected rent from the seed sowers for office space. Workforce paid for their employees, and tips were used to pay managers. They charged local residents parking fees, and this is not including their assets at other locations. Fruits of Labor, a for-profit business, made money hand over fist. So what is left? Tammy Jordan would have never moved into that building without any written or verbal agreement from this administration. So the question remains, what was the initial deal agreed upon between Fruits of Labor, Mayor Rappold, Billy Trump, and Mr. File before the idea was even presented to council?
3 minutes, Christina, but thank you. Trina Daisel.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Trina Daisel, Executive Director of United Way of Southern West Virginia. Our goal as a fundraising organization is to raise the funds needed to support our community partners. We work with local community partners to improve the health, education, and financial stability of the residents of Southern West Virginia. Serving the residents of Beckley, our partners include Just for Kids Advocacy Center, Food for Body and Soul, Raleigh County Commission on Aging, Beckley Dream Center, Salvation Army, Beckley Health Right, Raleigh County Community Action, Raleigh County 4-H, Lillian James Learning Center, and Hospice of Southern West Virginia. This year, through our grant reinvestment, $165,000 were allocated to agencies based in Beckley. Through support from our direct services, our Children's Basic Needs Assistance, our Equal Footing Shoe Fund, and our 211 Information and Referral Hotline, an additional $60,000 was reinvested to support the residents of Beckley. That does not include allocations to partners who are outside the geographic area of Beckley but serve its citizens. When we at United Way are presented with unmet needs, we collaborate with our community partners and local government to bring solutions to those needs. I understand there's a scheduled workshop to discuss the prevalence and dangers of panhandling along the Beckley streets and intersections. Wilmington, North Carolina, in 2023, partnered with United Way of the Cape Fear area for an initiative to help encourage donors that there's a better way to give. The initiative offers an alternative to giving to those who solicit funds in public areas by directing gifts to the service providers that help move these persons from crisis to stability. Beckley Community Partners of United Way work to meet the needs of those in crisis by creating long-lasting impact. Partnership between United Way and the City of Beckley could provide signs at designated intersections to direct donations to a portal administered by United Way. From giving through that portal, United Way could distribute funds to the organizations serving the residents of Beckley that provide direct client services. I spoke to the CEO of the United Way of Cape Fear, and he acknowledged panhandling decreased once the signs were installed. He also said $15,000 from their giving
30
portal
seconds.
was reinvested into the direct services for the housing insecure, food insecure, and recovery and employment assistance programs. United Way of Southern West Virginia is known as our community's resource of resources. We ask the city to consider a partnership to allow United Way to administer the initiative to encourage donors to give directly to those community partners who have the tools to effect change. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And
Thank you,
we
Trina.
are having
Thank
a
you.
workshop this Thursday, and that is obviously on the agenda. So I appreciate that.
Thanks.
You know, Trina, if it's working in that big municipality, and even though why would it not work here?
Oh,
I mean, it's something that's really worth looking into. And I just want everyone to know that from the basic of needs, the United Way covers things such as this. I received notification this week that a child started school.
A child started school at a local elementary school.
Wearing socks. We all have socks. We all have shoes. So they contacted me. I contacted Trina and Lori Cuthbert, and the child has a brand new pair of shoes. The child has socks, and also a gift card went to the
The school
child's,
counselor.
yes, to get other things that the child needed. So Trina, from everything that you all do and the 44 nonprofits, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
George Barbera, I was just talking, I didn't see you on the list. There you are, buddy. You're next.
Good evening, council.
Good evening.
I'm here to thank you again for the opportunity to host our cross-country meet this past Saturday, and hopefully be able to host our regional AAA region championships on October 21st, which was just put on us not too long ago. And I also want to thank you, Mayor, for coming out and being our guest official and getting the girls' race started. I hope you enjoyed yourself.
Oh, it's the coolest thing I've done since being mayor. I loved every second of it. I really did. And it was impressive how many people was there. I was blown away by it.
It's continued to grow over
Yeah, it
the
was
years.
awesome.
Thank you. We had 46 schools in attendance, over 400 athletes, and we sold over 850 tickets at the gate. Our concession stand of Chick-fil-A sandwiches, of course, sold out, and all three of our vendors did great. But what's important is the proceeds from this race fund our entire cross-country season, and it also supplements our girls' track program. And I do want to make a donation to both schools where the property that we run on, and maybe they can use it towards things like that for students that are in need. When I speak of the cross-country course, I'm referring to a mowed trail on the green space that borders both Beckley Stratton Middle and Beckley Elementary School. It's the Pinecrest Industrial Park property that's now owned by the city, and that's the center of discussion for development as it's subject to a covenant. But also, according to Raleigh County Assessor's map, this property is on the same deed that also includes our Little League baseball fields and the property adjacent to the DMV, over 140 acres, I believe. After viewing the map of the proposed development sites with several pads, we noticed that the pads were very close to the school's property and the buildings. And we were left with some important questions. Was there ever any discussion or studies done on how this could negatively impact both schools? Like teacher, student safety, evacuation plans, air quality. And was there ever any consideration of developing this land for the community to use as an activity park or a sports complex? This is happening all across our state, and for good reason, like you've heard earlier. You have the bridge at Bridgeport, improvements to Shawnee Park in Charleston, and the project adjacent to Charleston Mall. And even recently, you've seen where there's a $100 million project with sports complex and economic development going in Princeton, and now a $13 million one in Summersville.
30 seconds.
Parks and sports complex inspire the community to get active, just like the YMCA complex has done for many years. And we see a lot of people out at this property walking their dogs, running, and they, feel the same way as we do. I mean, and you'll probably you've already heard from some citizens tonight on the importance of investing in our young people in our community. And I want to end with that we do understand covenants, but it's not just brick and mortar that drives economic growth.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Lisa Shrewsbury.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I guess this is a lesson for my students in civic mindedness. But to be honest, most teachers, I am a teacher at Beckley Stratton Middle School, where the fields behind, we've been very fortunate to enjoy with the cross-country course, and our children go out there a lot. I was walking the other day and I was planning a lesson with a short story that I'm going over with them. And that's when I encountered a couple who revealed to me that all of this land was being sold and had been back and forth between the city and the county over a span of 30 years. My big question is, I have this saying, people who have nothing to hide, hide nothing. So how could I, who am also a journalist, a business owner, I'm very in touch with what I feel like goes on with the community, how could I just be walking on a trail that one minute I'm thinking, hey, this is one of the biggest assets that our kids have, our kids who are among the poorest in the county, who probably have come to school without shoes, and teachers, it's generally teachers, who stand up to get them what they need. How can what's been described as one of the most valuable pieces of property, they were not even a thought. Like, this land abuts the school. If you look at the plan, any green space that our children have enjoyed, including the cross-country course, including nature walks and trails, families with their dogs and kids. I mean, we're finally getting active. Look, y'all know this state is 50th in everything, but it took 55 counties to get us there. And within those counties, it took hundreds of cities and decisions that leave children and people having green spaces and places to move and not get hit by a coal truck. It takes everyone to make those decisions now. All of our opinions in here, 20 to 40 years are going to take care of them probably, if we're lucky and we have better health care and we eat well and have access to good food. But those kids that are coming up, maybe your kids are grown, but I teach a lot right there. That's our future. And if we don't make decisions at the city level, at the county level, that puts those kids first, then what have we done? What is our legacy that we've left, right? Okay, I'm just saying, don't let us be an afterthought anymore. When you're building a building, think of how close it is to the kids and how it might compromise their safety or change the safety plan of the school. Leave some green spaces where we can run. Leave some places where kids can enjoy versus having to look out of the window and see yet another building. That's my appeal to my leaders.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Tom Mosley.
My initial plan this evening was to come out and speak more in depth about the addition of Safety Commission, which I believe will be detrimental in assisting with panhandling, speeding, and other safety issues. But I want to switch gears for a minute this evening and ask you all to remember my friend and neighbor, Greg Stovall. Greg would come up here to every council meeting for the last 2 years. He cared about safety. He loved his community. He would voice his opinion whether you wanted to hear it or not. But he was the type of neighbor that would cut everyone's yard if they weren't able to. He would shovel snow for the neighbors and come in with his legs swollen when he wasn't able to do it himself. He is the true meaning of a perfect citizen of Beckley. I don't know what's available as far as a Citizens Award post-mortem, but I would ask this council to consider awarding that to his family. It would mean a lot to them and to the community. It is a great loss. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Tom.
Tom, I have to say, Greg embodied what a good neighbor really is. Yeah. He was a great guy.
All right, thank you. Brian Brown.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
It's good to be in a city where people are starting to come out and get active. It's very empowering and wonderful to hear people speak out about issues that are important to us. Thank you, Christina, for outlining a tremendous legacy of failure by our leadership. 3 years ago, I started railing and others against the awful decision to buy Fruits of Labor for one business. And here we are 3 years later. I emailed Billy File and Mr. Trump and Rob Rappold and every council member every single month and asked where the lease was. As a real estate broker, rule number one, you don't get keys until there's a contract. Here we gave them the keys to a building. We had nothing in place. Money has been spent. And where are we now? What are the plans for that building? Are we selling it? What is happening? How much money was actually spent? How many false promises were made to them that were not able to be lived up to, which caused them to leave? Why are we still talking about this 3 years later when this should have been addressed before they got the keys? This was incredible, incredible mishandling and egregious misappropriation of our funds. And here we are, 3 years later, left with a mess that we never should have gotten ourselves into. So at what point, and I'm glad that we have a new council that is ready to make better decisions, because now that Rappold is gone and we are left with this mess, how much did it cost us? And what are we gonna do to clean it up? And I would like to hear some sort of answers on that. And I think that also we need to make completely transparent to the public what happened and why this ended up being the mess that it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Garrett Pritt.
Good evening. I'm here in support of the teachers, the coaches, the faculty members of Beckley Stratton and the middle school, the elementary there. I was a cross-country runner on that course, middle and high school, and maybe I can offer a younger perspective of the future and of that course. I saw the families that would run that course, would use it, teach their kids to run, to exercise, to have fun, to get outdoors. The science teachers would take their kids outside and show them what this is or what that is, that utilize that space. I saw and I witnessed, and I was one of the students under Coach Barbera there that ran and fell in love with the sport. And as the mayor there said, there are so many people that come out from so far that are able to use this course, that bring, you know, some business into Beckley, that bring just so much to our area that they may not get to see. And it'd just be a shame to lose that space. And I've learned at an early age that when teachers want something and when teachers really believe something, it's usually for a good reason. It's usually true. And I can definitely see that from a younger perspective here today. Thank you.
Thank you. Well said. Mergie Bradley.
Good afternoon.
I'm here about the same thing Murray is. I still run Antonio, and the other evening, a friend of mine and I was sitting on the porch. It was Saturday. It was, well, about still midday. We were Saturday, and we were sitting there, and all of a sudden, a car flies by us, and there's a four-way stop sign. Come to find out, that car started, if you're on Patch and know where Mount Zion is, Mount Zion Baptist Church is, it started before it got to Mount Zion, coming just straight up. I never stopped, went by 3 or 4 streets, never even attempted to brake. It just happened so. The young man that was driving the car facing that way got ready to go out and said he heard something, and he stopped. Cause if that car had hit him, they would have died in that car wreck. His passenger and himself. And my friend, when she said Sarah, like this other lady come through, you know, she's making that right turn going on, and she hollered, "There's a stop sign." We sat there most of the day, "There's a stop sign." People driving it every day and want to say, "Well, I didn't know it was a stop sign." What are you talking about? They've been there 100 years. But I'm asking, and I know they patrol over that way, but I think sometimes, especially on real pretty days and stuff, all the time, they could come and set up and maybe start giving some tickets out to people who think it's okay to shoot through those stop signs, because there are kids playing up there. You know, I can imagine my niece. We used to go up and where that building is that Vicki Webb have opened up. We used to go up there and sit in the evenings, and she'd ride her bicycle, and every now and then I tell her, come back, and she would. But I can just imagine if she had been there and wouldn't have the chance to come back. You know, our teacher, she knows all about, you know, looking both ways or whatever. But we could have just been sitting there. And this is not something new on our end. But I am hoping, and I'm like Mary, those little couple of speed bumps ain't gonna kill them. Could be no worse than the way they drive those cars and bounce up and down or whatever. But I think if they get a couple of speed bumps, probably about 10 feet from the stop sign, all four, they'll see what's going on.
Okay.
And like I say, I'm a teacher too, and I love my kids, I love my neighborhood kids. But we're just asking for a little bit more patrol, a little bit more.
30 seconds.
And I ain't talking about 11 o'clock at night when about 5 police come up the road and go on back out.
What day and time was that?
This was Saturday, 24th. Saturday the 24th.
At what time?
About 1, 2 o'clock, you know, but when it starts getting hot and busy over it, they get to going. And they went up and went down Barber. They never stopped. Then you went on down Barber.
Okay, thank you.
Margie, I did speak with, today, former Deputy Chief Corey, who was the WVU Tech Chief of Police, and about their signs that are strobing. Chief, what would it hurt if we have 2 or 3 of those signs? You don't put them out all the time. I mean, people get used to them. But at least 2 weeks, we do have this. Now, we don't have the ones that strobe, correct? But would it be possible to, I understand that we've heard that speed bumps and humps or something about liability, about if a car gets hurt, whatever, even though there are speed humps on Westwood, and there's a couple more. I guess they're grandfathered in. But Chief, could we at least do that to see if you can't have an officer there all the time, but if we could at least have those signs periodically, like used to have them on Maxwell Hill or Till Road, would that be a possibility?
They've been ordered for several weeks. They're about $3,000 a piece, so I just have to wait for them to get here.
Okay.
It takes several weeks for them to get here.
Well, speaking as a resident of Maxwell Hill, you guys could just go ahead and leave Pinewood Drive closed, and we'd all be happy.
So they're ordered to be put on. Thank you, Chief.
They're ordered to come in. I had to buy them.
You have to, okay.
We don't have them. The ones we have are outdated.
Okay. Would it be the strobing ones like the ones that WV Tech
No,
had?
they're not the strobe.
Okay, but at least,
Too many complaints from the citizens about the lights bothering them.
okay. But at least you'll see that
But you'll be able to see
the speed that you're traveling. Okay. So that's wonderful to hear. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Margie.
Thank you, Margie.
All right, last but not least, Daniel Stewart.
Hello all, thank you again for the opportunity to speak. Taking a break from the recommendations I've been providing, I'm here today to discuss something that came up at the previous city council meeting, the City Parking Commission. Sherry Hunter asked about holding a city parking committee meeting. Bill File stated at the 30-minute, 46-second mark of the video that I think we probably should put that back on the agenda, then have council vote to create a parking commission because we haven't had one for some time, years. The Parking Commission was created by city ordinance effective February 25th, 1997. I've given you a handout of the city code covering the Parking Commission for your reference. there is nothing in the city code dissolving this committee. Beyond the fact that the committee is already established by code, the membership of the committee is defined. From the highlighted portion of the ordinance, in such respect, there is hereby created the City of Beckley City Council Committee on Parking Facilities, the Parking Committee, which shall consist of 9 members, 7 members which shall be comprised of the Common Council of the City of Beckley to act as such parking committee, along with the mayor and city treasurer. Voila, membership in the Parking Committee defined on February 25th, 1997. Further, I quote, "The Parking Committee shall, from its membership, select a chairman and vice chairman and a secretary to record the actions and decisions of said parking committee. The mayor nor city manager are in charge of the parking committee. City council decides who runs these meetings, nobody else. Why haven't you had a meeting?" All of this was decided back on February 25th, 1997. Shouldn't our longtime city attorney have known this instead of proposing a new ordinance? Is he unaware of city ordinances? Shouldn't our former recorder treasurer turned interim city manager at $130,000 a year, or the city attorney at over $100,000 a year, have said something to you well before now? Who's managing the parking and the parking money if you aren't? To paraphrase the lyrics of a song, money for nothing, but the manipulation is free. I've stood before you many times, detailing the power and authority that you have as council members, not just with words, but copies of the law. While others have sought to manipulate you, dissuade you, misinform you, and misdirect you, you cannot argue that you didn't know the truth, because I brought you the truth over and over again.
30 seconds.
And I will continue to do so. It's up to you to decide if you believe the written laws of this city or the word of people who do not care about you while they run to Alaska and the bank. The question each of you have to ask yourself is, how much longer will you wait for someone to take action? I can answer that question. It will take as long as it takes for you as a council and nobody but you to decide you will not stand for the manipulation anymore and do something about it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
Yeah, he did.
Make it super brief.
I can make it very brief.
Very brief.
He did come in.
We took the sign-up sheet a little early.
So my name is Jim McCurso. I'm Public Affairs Specialist with the Small Business Administration. And we are here in Beckley and Raleigh County and surrounding counties. We're offering our economic injury disaster loans to any businesses that had setbacks from the tornadoes that passed through, the two recent declarations in April. So we're just encouraging anyone, any businesses or related businesses that had setbacks economically because of the storm to consider applying for these long-term low-interest loans. Maximum is $2 million, the interest rate is 4% or less. Everything is here. You can apply online with the QR code, or you can come to one of our centers. So again, Raleigh County is eligible, and businesses here in Beckley and the surrounding counties as well. So,
Okay,
okay.
thank you very much for the information. That's good. All right, with that, can I have a motion to adjourn? So moved. Second? All right.